Alrighty, well, gang, thank you so much for being with us here today. We are talking about how to manage your teenage agritourism employees without killing them or yourself. That is the real trick. And one of the reasons that this became so important to me is you spend so much time with these employees while you're in your season, while you're trying to get everything running, you're trying to get all your work done, and then they're gone. And then when they come back, you know how it is. You have a crew that you've got. Some people back, some new people, and it just felt to me, just over years and years and years, I didn't understand why I had so much frustration over this crew that you had to essentially reinvent every single year. And no matter how many people come back, you end up reinventing the wheel. And there was a lot of frustration for me around that. And I'll just tell you a little bit about what we do. So I'm Hugh, the Maze Master. I unfortunately look just like that most of the time. And we design corn mazes for people in 70 different farms, 3 different countries. We were North American Farmer Direct Marketing Association 2012 Vendor of the Year. We're real proud of that. We love that organization. Next week we're heading down to the NAFTMA conference. Love to meet up with you there. And most importantly, all of this got started because we were running the Maze Quest Fun Park, and we started back in 1997. And now, like I say, we found out as we made our W-2s that we indeed had over 50 employees this year. Now, when you have all of those employees, it comes with a number of challenges, I guess is the nice way to say it. Now, I grew up with these challenges. I started working when I was 5, no kidding, putting boxes on the peach filler at our peach packing line. And since then, I was a child laborer, worked in the sweatshop here at the farm, as many of you did, I'm sure. And then, I was a regular worker, then I was a teenage worker, then I was a teen manager of other teenage workers. I've been the owner-operator since we started Maze Quest, with essentially a completely separate business from our farm, completely separate payroll system. Had to run my own crew, do all that fun payroll and payroll taxes. Gosh, is that just wonderful to get to fill out all of those forms. And I work on the farm here too. Many of you all year round, we're right now just trying to get better at what we're doing. And I guess I could say I've been around lots of employee systems, some good and some bad. Now, one of the temptations we find, and you might be thinking this yourself, maybe this is why you joined up for the webinar, you might just be thinking that things are not going to get better. You're going to get teenagers every single year, but it's going to be a crapshoot, right? And the trick here is, a lot of times, and I would hear my dad saying these things. I would hear him say, kids just aren't like they used to be, right? And that kind of frustrated me. I thought, gosh, what were there magic children in 1958 that were just somehow so wonderfully and magically different that that they did everything right? And then as I was a teenager and I kind of got, I was out with the crew, I thought, these kids aren't magical. We're tearing up pickup trucks and, backing into things and, doing all. They're not magical. Teens really, I don't think, have changed that much. And even if they have, the trick is, it doesn't matter, right? Suck it up. Kids are the way they are today. I would submit it's not wildly different from how it used to be. But that doesn't make it easy, right? We've all been there. Just so you don't think, I have this magical ivory tower I've been living in and I have been doing everything perfectly. I want to share with you one of the biggest regrets of my management career, right? I mean, we've all been there. Mine is, I once fired an employee over our handheld radio system. And I'm going to say it came from a place of anger. I was not in a good state. It was a super busy night. We had people running everywhere. It was flashlights. The lines were long. We were understaffed. My fault. And I just couldn't find Brandon. So I called on the radio and man, I didn't know where he had been, but an hour later he got on the radio and I had it. So I let him have it. And now, see, you got to understand, our handheld radios are put on our hips. We purposefully turn the volume up so that guests know that staff are nearby. They can hear that radio and they go, oh, somebody's around. Unfortunately, that meant that everyone in the whole park, guests, parents, children, other employees, people at the farm market, everyone heard him get fired. That is bad for guests. That is bad for the crew. That is bad for me. It was real bad when his parents called to let me know what they thought of my management prowess. It was just bad all the way around. And we've all been there. Maybe not quite that bad, but we've all been there. I still didn't change our employee management system until something terrible happened again. You see, in 2009, a 14-year-old girl who was applying for a job at the Maze Quest Fun Park left the interview in tears. And as I heard her sob and go down the stairs from the office, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. How could an interview to work at the funnest place north of Disney World make a little girl cry? And it was my fault, right? I was doing interviews the way I thought you were supposed to do interviews, right? And that is, what do you bring to the table? Prove that you should be on the job. You've got to show me if you've got what it takes, and all those aggressive questions that just for teenage kids, it just isn't going to go well. And so that night I stayed up. I couldn't handle it. I stayed up. We were labeling under the assumptions of all this, boss, leader, I'm the boss, all that kind of stuff, and we changed our interview system overnight. And the next day we had interviews. And we did things completely differently. And we'll talk about that too. So, just so you know, if this is for you, should you stay here? Is it good that you're spending your time listening to this? Well, this is for you if you've ever caught an employee slacking, right? Okay. If you've ever, had to work an extra shift because a teenager called out what I'll politely call questionably sick. If you've ever dreaded scheduling employees for the next week, how many of you feel like that? Right? Right? Oh God, we've got to do the schedule and it's got to be out by Thursday. Right? You've ever wondered how to motivate staff? Like they're good, they're okay, they're kind, but gosh, they just don't seem all that motivated. Or if you've ever had workers who are kind of chronically late to arrive, oops, sorry, it happened again, right? And then if you've ever had workers, I've had them like this, with bad attitudes, and they anger the guests, right? And that's happening when an angry guest comes to find you, right? That's the big indicator that you've got some workers who either don't know what they're doing or they're doing it wrong, right? When those people, they want to talk to a manager, right? All of these things were happening. I mean, in 2009, it was all happening to us. We were bursting at the seams, trying just desperately to hold this growing business together. And we were relying on luck. We were relying on talent, an insane number of hours from a couple of people. And then we just thought, we just kept looking for these magical people that were going to just, it's going to be magic, right? That saves us if we could just find that magic person. Now that was us in 2009. Now we have a crew. In 2014, 96% of our crew earned their performance bonus. In 2013, it was 99%. In 2012, 100% of our crew earned their performance bonus. And in 2011, just 2 years after we started building the system out, it was already up to 94% were earning our performance bonus. And we tell you all about the bonus and all that program and everything. But, we had been kind of doing all of these things, and finally we kind of pulled it together into this system that everything was working. From how do we find people and do that pre-interview, interview, group oriented, just walk them right down through this system by which we manage everything. And then get all of our expectations out, teach them everything about it, right? We put it all together in one package. And you can see we hit 100%. And that's only 3 years after a little girl walked down the stairs in tears because of my terrible, awful interviewing lack of skills. Just terrible, right? Now, this is class number 2. This is 2.0. So we've got a couple of quotes here from people who did our class last year. Maybe you've seen this. This is Annie from Lee Farms out in Oregon. She posted on our Facebook page. We got all our stations finished for our store, the food shack. Everything's working on October-only activities, and they've never been this far ahead on the farm, right? That lights me up to hear. I mean, she did absolutely everything. Did all her homework, got it all done. Here's Cindy and Barry out in Michigan. We implemented the MaizeQuest staffing system, and staffing was smoother than ever. It really helped. They did all their homework. They did all the stuff. I mean, this is a course. There's work involved. I don't want you to think that this is not going to be work. About Mike, I can remember Hugh's first visit. Like yesterday, it's impacted everything we do in a positive way. Ag Entertainment has taken my business to a level I never thought possible. And he's going to be at NAFTMA. Talk to him about it. Ask any of these guys. This is what I love. This is what I love, hearing people being successful. And it's not because it's magic. It's not because I'm magic. It simply is because, they have done the work to implement the systems, create the policies and forms and job descriptions, right? That can be painful. But do you remember back to last season? It's really painful to do the same thing over and over again, year after year, and struggle with those problems. Not only painful, it's expensive, right? What does it cost to do nothing? Well, this is from the Center for Academic Policy Research. One teenage worker paid $8.50 an hour costs $850 to replace in the lost time, knowledge, efficiency, and management time to train his or her replacement. I never would have guessed that replacing a 14 or 15-year-old could be that expensive. But when you think about it, all that time you're going to have to take just to tell someone new where the stuff is on your farm. They don't know where the screw guns are. They don't know where the brooms are, right? All of that time to replace that one worker. But what if you could just hang on to them, make them more efficient, make them stay another year, right? Because it's so great to work at your place. Now let's talk dollars, because we've got people all over the board, right? Remember our poll results? Well, here, if you're in that 1 to 5 category, right? 5 employees times $8.75 an hour, that's $43.75 an hour. If you're open 21 days, that's just the weekends, right? 21 public days. 2 hours wasted per day, you're $1,800 in. And I think the way Michelle has done staffing, I think you can probably save those 2 hours just in lost staffing time, just by getting that schedule right using our system. If you got 12 employees, we got a number of people in that 10 to 20 and 20 to 50 range. At $9.25 an hour, put that in for the Canadians, right? They're you think our minimum wage is bad, go to Canada, right? $111 an hour, 21 days, 2 hours a day, $4,600 lost, right? And then for the larger operations out there, just 25 employees, $8.50 an hour, $212.50 times 31 days times 2 hours, that's $13,000. Now, another way to think about this is you and I know if you have a quality employee, they're really worth like 1.3 employees because you don't have to keep on them. You don't have to chase them down. You don't have to staff as heavy because you know you've got the A team on there. Those 2 hours you can save simply by not bringing in the 10th person when really you can run with 9, right? I mean, it's crazy the savings you can get when everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. And you can keep people from turning over. I love this. This is a new the powerful new model for employee motivation from Harvard Business Review. Employees are driven to acquire, bond, comprehend, and defend. And your system must address all 4 aspects of motivation to be successful. Right? So they want to acquire money, but they also want to acquire skills, right? Nobody you want on the team, I'll put it to you that way, is not driven to acquire skills. They want to bond. They want to bond, believe it or not, they want to bond with you. They want to bond with their fellow employees. If you're discouraging that at every chance, or you're not pleasant to bond with, you're always negative, what they're going to do is they're going to go bond with their employees over how big a jerk their managers are, right? These are the 4 things. They're going to find a way to bond. And they want to comprehend. This is one of the biggest things, and we're going to see it as we get into we're going to actually do one of the modules today, an overview of our group orientation module. One of the things you're going to see in there, the comprehend, they need to know the why. Why are you having them do these things? Why are they there? Why do they have that job? And then defend, right? They're either going to defend their position or they're going to defend your business. It just depends on how you set things up, right? So you can get into an argument with them and they can defend their position, or everything can be very clear. They can be very motivated and plugged in, and they can defend your systems from people who aren't yet comprehending the system. They're going to defend you, against guest theft, they're going to be looking out for you to defend for you. But you got to have all 4: acquire, bond, comprehend, and defend. And our last statistic here, the amusement park labor cost averages 20 to 40% of revenue. This is from how much gross revenue should go to payroll. This is from a group of consultants to the amusement park industry. At the Maze Quest Fun Park, we average less than 15%. You can figure out your own. It's pretty straightforward. What's your revenue? And then divide with your total payroll. During a day, during a busy season, might go up, might go down. It's interesting to check it out on, say, a Friday, then a Saturday, then a Sunday. It's interesting to know that. Now, how did we do this at Maze Quest? I think we have a couple of things that help us out do that. We have a very efficient park design. This is why we're big on mazes. We have a very efficient corn maze designing system. We'd love to help you design your corn maze. It's what we do. Even that design creates the need for fewer staffing. But efficient scheduling is another huge one. Having employees who are cross-trained and can move from one place to another. I don't need as many people on staff because I have very few specialists, right? People who can only work the kettle corn shack, right? I have very few specialists. Most of my folks can move anywhere. We standardized our register system so they can move from any register to any register, for instance. And we train them and teach them that they are more valuable the more places they can go. So that's one of the things that I think can help you. But if you start tracking this, it's really interesting. And you can see how you're bringing that percentage of payroll down. Some of you might be beating me. Go ahead, send me an email. Let me know how you're doing. That would be very interesting for me to know. I thought, hey, compared to the amusement park business, that's kind of the business we're in. Not too bad. So today, I want to make sure whether or not you're going to do the course, that is totally up to you. I want to make sure that you get something out of today. Okay? So here's what we're going to cover. Teenage workers are not the enemy, but in fact, the best resource for a seasonal business like yours, like mine. Now, another one is why young workers with no experience are actually some of the best staff for agritourism farms. Then we're going to get you right into what a regular module is going to look like. It's 5 steps to a successful group orientation. And then we're going to talk about how you can adapt the MaizeQuest agritourism employee system, that's what the boot camp's all about, to your business. So even if you don't join the course, you can take these ideas into your business, kind of like IKEA. We'll give you the pieces. If you want to have the system completely done, that's what the course is for. That's where we're going to lead you right through doing everything. But either way, you're going to get something useful today. Here it is. Teenage workers are not the enemy. I don't know how many times I hear operators talk as though the employees are out to get them, right? It's us against them. If I turn around, they're going to sit down. They're going to be talking and texting. There's no trust for teenage workers. And many of you might be saying, yes, that's correct. There isn't. They're out to get us. But I would submit that if you engage and encourage teenage workers, they will do anything for your business. Okay? Teenagers are not the enemy, all right? This guy here, senior in high school, was so pumped about the Roman gladiator theme we did in our corn maze. He dressed up like Caesar, and his sister was dressed up as his wife, Caesar's wife, in the introduction video to our corn maze. And they were seen by every guest who came through the thing. I mean, that's what you can get out of these people when you get them engaged, right? Teens are desperate to fit in, to be included, to be valued, to be trusted. It is so amazing to me how they respond to that. You know, generally because no one does. No one includes them, values them, or trusts them. And, you know, if we're going to be the grown-ups, we're going to have to show them how this is done. And this system's going to help you learn how to do that and keep some safeguards in so that you're not exposing yourself to undue liability. I thought this was so great. This was in a TED Talk. Simon Sinek, and you can look it up on TED.com. I love TED Talks, 10 to 20 minutes, no more than 20 minutes, and you get such good information. I love this. The best leaders make their people feel safe. Now, it took me a while. I was like, what? That okay. From robbers? But if you think about it, I think this is completely accurate. If you think about it, your employee generally works for you because you provide them a level of safety. They can count on you to make payroll, right? They can count on you. What's amazing is when you build these systems and I call it the chance for people to do it right, okay? You're making them feel safe. I'm not worried I'm going to get yelled at my job because I feel safe enough that I have this system I can follow. If I do this, Hugh's going to be happy. He's not going to flip out. Even if I mess up, I can tell him. One of my pet peeves before all of this was ever have workers who wouldn't tell you that something broke and then you went and found out, right? Like they wouldn't tell. They were so scared of me, that they had dropped the screw gun and it was broken, but everybody got the heck out of there And then 2 days later, I needed the screw gun, and I go and find that screw gun broken, right? And then what happens? I fly off the handle because nobody told me. And why didn't anybody tell me? Because they were scared I was going to fly off the handle, right? I was not making them feel safe. I just love that quote. The best leaders make their people feel safe. Here's teenage workers. This is great. They're inexpensive. They're flexible to schedule. Very few of mine do I ever have a complaint when it's time to go home early, right? Starts raining halfway through the afternoon. Boy, they're, hey, I'm out of here, right? You know, if you have adult workers, you got to pay them like adults. And teens are happy to be on the job for a few months, go back to school and have their school lives with a little bit of spending money in their pocket. I think they're great. And in this employment, at least in my current employment market, I find that they're readily and easily findable. They're out there, and they're looking for work because some of the bigger jobs are going to adults who don't have work. That changes by market, but that's here. Now, here's the other thing: is no experience, no problem. I hear so much, that gosh, these kids can't even run a broom, right? Well, it's an extreme case, but I heard about a crew of bar workers who would specifically go to work at a bar that had just opened, right? They'd come in and they'd have all this experience. And then, using all the dirty tricks they'd learned over all their years, they would rob the place blind until the owners wised up to all the tricks that this group of bar workers had. Now, mostly, that's not the case. But honestly, I'd like the first crack to teach a young worker what it means to work before anyone else shows them how to goof off. Right? With no job experience, you have no bad habits. And we all know that bad habits must be broken. And that takes time and training and energy to break a bad habit and then restart a new one. That's why I'm such a fan of teenage workers and even some 14-year-olds. We try to mix a couple in, real young workers just getting started. It's going to be their first job. And that has been it's been great. And we've gotten to then, with our investment in them, just as we would have had the same amount of investment in a high school senior. High school senior goes to college. 14-year-old worker we have for another 3 or 4 years. And so I think they are a good investment. But now many of you are probably wondering, what do we get in the actual course? Well, this one is Module 5. It's called the Group Orientation. It's 5 steps to start on the same page. Now, there are lots of reasons why we're excited to offer you this class. And we can't go over the whole module today, but I think you'll get a feel for the style and the kind of exact fill-in-the-blank style worksheets that you're going to be provided with during the course. You see, one of our signature features in this system is the group orientation. Now, this happens after a person has made it through the interview, but it is before any of these people have been hired. So, step one. One of the reasons, step one, we love of group orientation is, it might sound like extra work, but it is absolutely not. Let me remind you that hiring the wrong employees is lots of extra work. This is essentially preventative medicine. So a group equals competition, right? Here's the long line of people applying for jobs. So even at the interview stage, we're going to schedule the applicants so that they see a lineup of candidates. Now this creates value, desire, competition. It's the first step in weeding out the weak. If they see that it's going to be hard competition and they don't even want to go through the interview process, hit the bricks. You're not motivated enough to work here. Now, one of my pet peeves, and I see this all the time, and it's typically at what I would call like a restaurant that has an older, more traditional management or owner, and they hang out a help wanted sign. Right? I do not believe in help wanted signs, right? You're basically saying to people, we're desperate, we'll probably take anyone, come on in, right? And what I like to say with the group, with a lineup, as they start getting set for this, with a group orientation where you're sitting around there looking at the other people who could have your job, right? Or this job. Right? You're saying this is a competitive environment, right? You're creating that desire, that drive. Oh man, people are here. This is okay, a group kind of thing, right? Step number 2 for group orientation, invite the parents. Now this is specific to young teenage workers. At the 18-year-old level, we let them just, they have to be responsible for themselves. And, the first thing is, you may be thinking to yourself, I don't even want to invite the parents because I've had to deal with parents in the past. Maybe you got burned by parents in the past. They gave you a real earful, caused you a real problem with people. But you know what? Throw it out the window. You're probably on this, looking at this webinar and this course because you want something different to happen. So just trust me, invite the parents. And here's why. There's a step-by-step process that makes it mandatory for the parents to come to help their youth produce great results. All right. Now I know you've talked to this woman. All right. Little Jimmy has a surprise family reunion, so he's not going to be able to work on Saturday or anything. So yeah, you've probably talked to that mom, right? As part of a successful group orientation, we require the applicant bring the parent to the meeting so that there is no question about your organization's expectations, right? We short circuit all of these crazy calls. Oh yeah, Christina's really, she just doesn't feel good, right? That's, we don't have calls like that anymore. And one of the reasons is, with the parents and the kids in this group orientation, step 3 is we are going to tell them the why. I'm a believer in the power of why. From you as a leader down to the newest employee, they have to know why you are doing what you're doing. And so the entire group orientation starts out with this statement from our employee expectations guide. Maze Quest is an experience. To create an experience people are willing to pay for, we have to be fun. Fun is perceived individually, but by creating and implementing our system of appearance and behavior, we can exceed most guest expectations. When we exceed expectations, we turn guests into fans. Fans tell others about Maze Quest without paid advertising and bring new guests in to our business. That's why we do what we do. Do you have a statement, a powerful reason why your employees are on that job? Or will they just say, I need a paycheck? 'Cause you're the boss, that's why I'll do it. Right? That's not an employee who's engaged in thinking about their experience, right? You want them thinking, why am I here? Why do we do what we do? And it's for those guests. And step 4 is we share precise expectations. And we don't take any chances. We spell it out, and it is all written down. The core, the centerpiece of our program is the Maze Quest Employee Expectations Guide. We're going to walk you through creating your own step by step. There won't be a surprise for your employees when you ask them to clear the porta potties or pick up trash. Module 5 and 6 of this program, you are looking at ours. Here's our why do we do what we do? Here's blanks for you to write your own. Here's why you are important. And this is one of those, how do we value employees, right? You are important. Maze Quest is an experience provided to the guests by you, our employees. I always like to say at this point, I say, you know who's the best at Maze Quest? It's me. I'm the best at everything. At every single job, Hugh the Maze Master is the best. But it doesn't matter because we have 20 positions to cover and I can only be at one of them. That's why you are so incredibly important. That's why we're taking our time to get you and your parents oriented to this. And then we're going to train you. And then we're going to have a test on your training. And then we're going to have you check off tasks as you do it. We're going to go to all that trouble to make sure that you feel totally comfortable and confident delivering this super important experience to our guests. We're going to give you each one of these things, swipe and deploy. If you like mine, you can do copy and paste. If you want to write your own, modify it, copy and modify and paste. We call it swipe and deploy, right? We're going to make it as easy as possible for you to do it. And this is a key step most people do not think about. We need to make it okay for them to leave so that they want to stay. Now let's go back to your 8th grade dance, right? That might be a little weird. But in that 8th grade dance, do you remember you really wanted to go with that girl, with that guy? You really wanted to go. So you would start hinting, you would start hanging out with them, you'd start cracking some jokes around, hinting, insinuating, and then eventually you'd probably just ask, oh no, I don't know if I want to go. And you couldn't get that person to say yes. No, at least I couldn't, because you saw how I looked. I had my picture posted at the beginning, right? Well, it still looked the same way. But then lo and behold, you found a date, someone did finally say yes, and then, surprise, the person you were going to ask originally, who you were hinting and asking so many times before, they magically become really interested in you, right? So here's how it applies to your business. You want to make it okay for them to leave so that they want to stay. You don't need to sell your farm. Oh, it's so great working here. It's so awesome. We have such a great team. You want to be on it, and you really should want to be on this team, right? If you sell your farm really hard, they will think that you are desperate, right? They will resist the hard sell. So what we like to do is tell them that they're free to leave. In fact, one of the things we talk about is if it's not for you. And we say this might not be for you. Not everyone is wired for the entertainment business. You've got to smile. You've got to forget about your life and focus on the guests. You've got to want to please the guests and make them smile. You've got to want to do it when it's hot, it's cold, it's raining, you're tired and frustrated and sad, you just broke up with your girlfriend, wrecked your car, lost your keys. You have to leave your baggage at the door. Even if your day has been lousy or tiring, the guest is meeting you for the first time. You have a chance to treat them to a wonderful experience they will remember, and it is part of your job description. If you can't separate your life from your work responsibilities, we encourage you to find a different job. MazeQuest might just become a safe haven for you from the rest of your life. Knowing that you get the chance to make people happy all day can be a relief from daily stress. Everyone has problems, but there's never a bad day at MazeQuest. If you aren't wired to smile on a cloudy day, this isn't for you, and you need to feel comfortable enough with yourself to tell us that. Now, if this sounds fun, read on. Now, what is amazing is one time I actually had a boy in the back row stand up and walk out of the room. Our jaws dropped open, and we all followed him in comic fashion as he walked out the door and closed it behind him. And I turned back to the group and I said, "Isn't that amazingly brave and wonderful?" He knew and was honest with himself. He wasn't gonna fit in here. Does anyone else need to leave? 'Cause it's okay. You gotta tell them this at the group orientation. And that's what it is. That's a brief overview of Module 4, which is the group orientation of Agritourism Manager Boot Camp. So even if you can't join us for the class, it's not for you, just remember, group equals competition. Invite the parents, tell them why, make your expectations crystal clear, write them down, and make it okay for them to leave so that they'll want to stay. Now let's talk about how you can create your own staffing system, right? How can you do this for your farm? So here it is. It's the Agritourism Manager Boot Camp. It is an 8-module course complete with handouts, by the end of which you're going to have your entire employee management system written down. From job descriptions, the You're going to get everything. Here's what's going to happen. When you buy your seat in the class, you're going to receive an invitation for the online classes. You're going to get login information for our exclusive website for the class. It opens up each module week by week by week, because you may think you want to zoom ahead, right? And do all 8 modules this week. But I promise you, you'll want to work on one every week and get done and get back and report into the Facebook VIP group. It's just for members of the class, so you can ask specific things about the class in there. And everything that we use, you get in fill-in-the-blank format. All right? We make sure that you get every single part piece, and if you want to, you can just copy it, swipe, and deploy, right? Now, why are you going to go through this whole process? It's because the system becomes your filter, right? The register's off. She got her phone out. He's late, right? All of that gets filtered into the system we're going to create together. You're going to create this system during the class, then all the rest of the decisions for the rest of the season are going to be made for you, for the employee, by the system. Now that's incredible. I like to say that since 2009, I have never had to fire an employee. Do you know why? Because they fired themselves. Because they agree to this system, sign their name on the dotted line, and if they don't adhere to it, they have also signed their name on the dotted line to the discipline policy, and essentially they fire themselves. The system does it all. And all I can say is, gosh, it seems like you're not making very good choices. And you agreed to make good choices. But it's not working out, right? You don't have to exert your brain power. Now, we're going to push you for 8 weeks. But after that, the decisions aren't made by you and your brain power or your manager's brain power, but by the system. And it's all agreed to up front. So what do you get? What's the real stuff? You get the classes, plus you get the class recordings to review, the pre-interview sheet, the interviewer's guide, the job descriptions for all of our fun park jobs, the non-negotiable business value sheet, so you can start writing out your own business values, the employee expectations guide, that's the EEG, the fill-in-the-blank version of the expectations guide, so you can build yours right along the way, group orientation sheet, group meeting outline, group orientation PowerPoint, train the trainer day outline, training day outline, retraining day worksheet, and the exception customer service worksheet. Plus, you get our clock-in policy, discipline policy, cell phone policy, commitment sheet, parental involvement outline, the employee incentives, the referral bonus plan, the post-season party and employee recognition plan, all this and everything else done for you, swipe and deploy. Now that sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? The good news is the work's done for you. You just make it yours. You're going to take all of this and just make it yours. We're not going to give you the ideas of what you should do. We're going to hand it to you. And all you have to do is either type your farm name at the top or copy and paste and change the part that fits best to your organization. Now I had to change this slide. We are down to 13 registrations left, 13 seats left for the extra scheduled call to work on your specific program. So we had 25 to start with. That gets you an extra hour with me reviewing your system in person, just you and me, no group. We talk specifically about your program. You can send me the email. I can have everything here, and we can get it all knocked out, all done. You may be thinking, I'm just getting started. I don't have many employees. Great. It should be real easy to implement the system. You might say, I don't have the money for this. We went over the money stuff. My goodness, it could be $1,800, $4,000, $13,000. Fill in your own numbers. See if it makes sense. Right now, before we start the course, as we get led up here, you get $400 off. So it's an incredible deal to get all of this done for you. You might be thinking, I'm too busy. This isn't the right time. I don't trust myself to do the work. Now that's a big one, isn't it? Here's the deal. If you're going to put money on it, if you're going to pay for the course, you're going to find the time. If this were free, you would never get to it. I promise you. That's the way I am. I took a class that cost thousands of dollars to figure out how to take all this stuff I had and put it into a class that someone could actually learn something from. And I had to pay for that. And it was totally worth it because it helped refine out this entire system from this big pile of stuff we were just kind of doing. Now, some people don't trust themselves to get the work done. I understand that. That's why we do it in a week-by-week class. I do not just vomit everything we know on you and say, pick out make sure it works for you. Best of luck, right? We put it out week by week by week. And if you just stay with us week by week by week, you're going to end up done at the end. And there's one more thing. And some people have already taken advantage of this from the first class. You're actually getting access for a full year. So it's not just end of 8 weeks, everything's cut off, access denied. You've got access to the program for an entire year. So if you need to go back and check something, you can check it. If you're in the Facebook group, you can go back and say, oh my gosh, I just had my interviews. I ran into this problem. What does everybody think? And it's so cool. Just have people who know exactly what you're doing. They go, oh, you're in the group orientation. I'm in the group orientation too. I know right? They know exactly what you're talking about. What's the value in lost wages? Just calculate your own, right? These are some example numbers. It's going to retail as we get within the last 2 days before the class starts. It retails at $9.97. The early bird seats are still available. There's only 13 with the special extra hour. But they're early bird seats together. You can save $400, get it for $597 over the next week as we get you set up, right? But just get in today. Why not? If you're going to do it anyway, just sign up today, get your extra hour, and I'll be with you there to help refine everything else out. You might still have a question about it. Here's the deal. We guarantee you get a system you can use. If you buy it, you go through the course, you've got your stuff sitting there, you did your homework, it's sitting there, and you're looking at it going, this is useless. I cannot believe that I paid to do this. If you let me know within 5 days of completing the course, you get your money back, no questions asked. I'm taking my time to do this class because I want to get people just posting, oh my gosh, this season was so much better. I mean, I know how I felt before I put this all together. I know how I felt, and I get such a kick out of people having success with this and getting it done. All right. So if you do not, you do the work and you fill in the blanks and you look at it and you say, I can't use this, then you get your money back. I'm happy to do it. All right, because I want you to be successful at this. So I encourage you, jump in, go to Agritourism Manager Bootcamp. I'm sure you've gotten some emails from me that have the link in there. Save your $400. It's only $597 for the next week. But, if you're going to do it, just steal one of those first 13 seats and we'll get you in there and get you started early. You'll be all set up. February 10th is when we kick off. It's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, we record everything if you need to do it. I had one person do it all on recordings. Never made a live class. Totally fine. And I had tons of people. We would generally have 10 to 15 out of our group of, I think we had over 50 do it last year. 10 to 15 would be in the live classes. Everybody else is doing it on recordings. So totally fine to do it that way as well. So right now, again, I want to open it up to questions. If you have questions about the course itself, if you have questions about the module preview that we did, just jump right into the question section here. We've already got some coming in here. First one is from Chris, and his question is, may multiple managers from one business go through boot camp at the same time? Super, super question, and I guess I have not been describing this very well. So what you're buying is you are buying a farm license for the boot camp. So and last year we had this as well. Your farm is licensed to do it. So if you have yourself and you're doing it, great. If you have yourself and a manager doing it, great. I actually have a farm who's already bought a seat, and they bought the seat for their manager, their head of staff. The farm owner is not going to be in the class, right? And that is totally fine as well. So if you have 2 or 3 people, that's fine. You're going to use one login to get in. All right, so you'll use one login for the farm, and you can just set that when you buy the seat. We'll get you set up with one login, but then anybody can use that login. 3 of you can sit around the same computer, or you can log in at different times and watch the recordings as well, and everybody can work through the things together. If you have managers, I want you to put them in this course. That's why we're doing it that way. If you're all speaking the same language, you're all working through this stuff, I think that is tremendously valuable. It's almost like a team building activity to get on the same page about this. All right, who else has some questions here? This is from Rhonda. What is the schedule for the live classes? It is every week, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, starting on February 10th, and then the following 7 weeks after that. So Tuesday, 2 p.m. is the live class. Starting February 10th, we will kick off. And I teach each one live. Next question here, gang. Somebody ask a tough question. We'll get them answered up. We're right on time, so don't worry about it. Go ahead and ask your question. Aha! We have employees who would forget to clock in and then come to us a few days later that they worked, but we have no proof. What do you suggest we do? Ha-ha! This all happens, yes, Chuck, in our in the Employee Expectations Guide. It also, we talk a little bit about hardware, and I think we had 3 or 4 conversations about hardware and how to have people clock in and out. This is a big issue, but the issue can be handled again up front when you go through the expectations guide. For instance, I said one of the things you get is our clock-in procedure. We use a fingerprint time clock. Doesn't really matter which one. The procedure is you clock in, you get paid. If you don't clock in, then you don't get paid. And the first time that happens to somebody, the rest of the team figures out that you really mean it. All right. James Saunders, if we buy now, do we get a set of steak knives? Yes, I probably can find some at the thrift store for you, James. Thanks so much. That's why I wanted to tell you at the end that, I do this because I want you to be so successful at this. It probably does sound like a big sales seminar, but that's... I hope you join, James. It sounds like we will have fun with you in the class. All right. Does the live class usually run an hour or longer? We keep them to an hour. The way I actually kind of run things is I do the programmed part for an hour, sometimes a little less, but always we stop on the hour, and then after that I will stay and answer questions. And that part we sometimes record the questions, sometimes we don't. Just depends what they're doing. James is asking a serious question. Oh, silly questions are good too. Will you be touching on staffing software programs? Absolutely. And we have some people in the class from last year that are using a lot of different things. We internally use When to Work, and we kind of explain why and how, all of those kind of things. Rhonda's asking, do we need to use the entire system for success, or can we pick and choose? And still be successful. This is one of the classic questions, and I'm glad you asked this. Do the whole system. Now, what that means is, if I say you need a personal cell phone policy, you need a personal cell phone policy, and I'm telling you that because I have found that without one, disasters happen. And you can imagine with all the corn maze clients we have, I have heard about every disaster. I've been in NAFMA forever, and everybody likes to complain about their disasters there. But that means that you need your cell phone policy. If you like mine, which I think is a pretty good one, if you like mine, great. I would say you should not go through and say, I'm not going to interview people the way you interview them, but I am going to do a group orientation. What you should do is probably say, okay, Hugh says, this is the way that we interview people in the system. Here's how I can tweak that so it makes sense for my farm. But I'm still going to use his pre-interview sheet or a similar pre-interview sheet. I'm still going to go look for people the same way. I still on that sheet am going to outline exactly what's going to happen. I'm still going to put on there all of the important information that he lists on there, right? So you're going to be taking our system and making it work to your farm, but I would not drop a section out of the system, no. What program or system do you use for a time clock? Brianna is asking. We use a software package called Time Clock Plus because it happens to work with the fingerprint time clock that I started using back in, oh my lands, 2006, which was it was space age technology at that time. So I would say Time Clock Plus is a fine one, but you may, in the discussion of hardware time clocks and which time clock to use, in that discussion, you may find that something works better for you. For instance, we could use the one that is on our iPad registers. The only thing that doesn't do is you could theoretically, it doesn't scan your fingerprint. I don't like people being able, I'll give you my code, you clock me in, right? My fingerprint time clock took care of that. I ain't had anybody send in their finger to clock themselves in. So, I did have one guy lose his time card, though. He was at home and had a mowing accident. We had to scan a different finger. All right, you are welcome, Rhonda. No worries. Chris is asking if February isn't the best month for us, will there be another boot camp later in 2015? Chris, it is very likely that there will be another boot camp in 2016 or 15. It will likely start in May, which again is going to lead you right into summer and the hiring season, kind of what we did last time. We have had a number of requests for this to be expanded beyond agritourism and just into teen working. So I would say for the agritourism focused one, this is probably the one to do. If you want to just email me, or we can talk on the phone, see about the schedule and about doing the recordings, that might fit in better for you. Because it just may not be quite as agritourism focused when we get into May. All right. You are welcome, Brianna. And do we have any other questions, gang? Hit me with your best shot. As Pat Benatar says, fire away. I'm yours. Will there be a link to sign up for the class? Yes, Chuck, no problem. What? Actually, it should be in your chat window right now. There should be one. If not, you will get an email, or you should already have actually an email from me that has the link to sign up for the class. Can you elaborate on the performance bonus, or should we wait with mystery and suspense? No, I will tell you about it. What we do is our performance bonus, we let them in October. If they make it through all of their things and meet all of the goals in the expectations guide, then they earn $100. So no lates, no tardies, no guest mishaps, no nothing. So when I say in 2012 we had 100% of 43, I think it was 43 employees, 100%, I had to pay out $4,300. And I was beside myself, and then I realized, oh my gosh, we didn't have a single kid late. We didn't have a single kid that I had to reprimand or write up. This is the best crew ever. It's totally worth $4,300 to do that. Giselle, will you be given a class membership list? Absolutely. Even better, we're going to get you connected up on Facebook in our Facebook group and talking to everybody. Will we be able to communicate with other farms on the class with ideas, successes, failures, regarding these areas of management? Absolutely. It is so cool on the Facebook group when we're all, again, week by week. We're taking our week in the first week. Let's pick one. Let's say week 4, we're talking about group orientation, and everybody jumps on that Facebook group, and they're all talking about group orientation, right? So it's really cool to see how that works. And then we had people, they were posting job descriptions. Somebody said, I need a job description for pedal cart. So everybody posted their job description, and you're able to work back through there. It's totally great. Amazing. Thank you. Melinda is saying, are the classes on DVDs so that we can have future managers learn the system? The classes are not on DVDs. I show that picture because it's a good representation of them, but they are all online. What you can do is you can renew after your initial year. It is just $99 to maintain access to not only the class that you were in, but stay in the Facebook group and be able to use all of the materials plus anything else that you want to go back and look at. Anything new that comes in, you essentially have access to that membership site for everything new. Chuck is asking, if I take the class next week, can I take a refresher in May? Absolutely. So as we do this class more and more times, we're actually going to have the recordings from each year on the same page for the class. So not only will you be able to do the class refresher, but if you just cannot get enough of the loud little bald guy, you can watch last year's class of the same thing. And all the handouts will be there, and you'll keep going through. And if we add any new modules in the future, Melinda, then you can actually you'll be able to have access to that again just for $99 after the initial $997, or our $400 off offer for right now for this week of $597. Do you use a modified version of this for adult staff? The refresher for you, Chuck, just a quick follow-up here. Chuck had the refresher in May would be free because it's in your year of initial membership. So there would be zero cost if you wanted to just jump into the live classes in May. Y'all can do that. I actually had a bunch of people who signed up in May, didn't get it done, and got into their season. It was summer. They were all busy, and they just, boom, jumped right back in. They get right in on February, completely free for them to maintain. Now, Sharon is asking, do you use a modified version of this for adult staff? Here's the fun thing. I thought I was going to have to create a modified version for adult staff. Almost everything outside of bring your parent and have your parent sign for you, everything's the same. And we make very clear, one of the things that's really fun, I love doing this in the group orientation. One of the things that I think is really effective, we tell these kids, we call you kids, you're teenagers, you're young adults, youth of America, but I bet you'd like to be treated like adults. How many of you feel like you'd like to be treated like adults? And they put up their hands, and of course, the adults are sitting in there as well. So, well, you know what? We're the place. We're desperate for you to be treated like adults. In fact, this system, this whole thing is about you and me having an adult relationship between employer and employee. We're going to treat you like adults, desperate to do it, right? We'll be the place where that happens, right? And so really, it works just as well for the adults. And where is the farm? And can we see this magic in person? Rhonda, of course you may. Just for fun, I'll share my webcam and you can see the magic in person. Yay! I'm real! Look, I'm real. It's great. And if you'd like to come, you can sneak in. I want you to sneak in and mystery shop me. See how my kids are doing. I had some folks do it, and they were in. Oh, I forget who it was. They came to visit the farm, just showed up, kind of unannounced, said, "Hey, can we find Hugh?" They found me, and I called them before they got into the park, and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is great! You're here. Can you be my mystery shoppers?" And I got them some wristbands, because if you're a farmer and you come to me in season, you're not paying. I don't want you buying a ticket. I'll get you in for free. I want you in there. All right? And so they mystery shopped. And when he got back, she said, "Well, I didn't really want to talk to you while we were there. At the maze, we were treated really, really well. At the farm market, it was really busy, and the people there kind of just seemed harried, and they weren't quite doing it." I got some legitimate feedback. The farm market was not doing as well, and that's my responsibility too. There are two separate places; they're not right together, and so the farm market wasn't quite up to snuff. And so, this is a system, right? And you got to have some feedback in that system, and you got to build it out. I'm not perfect now because I did this, right? But if you want to come down and see me, it's great. The website is mazefunpark.com, and I'm going to put it on here for you. mazefunpark.com, and I'm going to send to all. And the other one I'll put on here for you is www.agritourismmanagerbootcamp.com, and that will be where you have the link to buy. And where are we? We are in southeastern York County, Pennsylvania, which is right on the border between Maryland and Pennsylvania, straight north of Baltimore, Maryland, straight south of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, about an hour and a half west of Philadelphia. And we dodged the snow. So you're welcome to come on down. We did, in fact, dodge the snow. So anytime you're in the area, Rhonda, please, please, please come and see us. We'd be glad you did. All right. Any other questions, gang? Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. All right. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, gang. Encourage you, get those last 13 slots. If you know you're going to do it anyway, just do it now. And go ahead and get your seat reserved. If not, think about it. And if you have any other questions, just drop me an email or give me a call, whichever you like. I got to go buy James a set of steak knives now. So if you have any other questions, please do feel free to email, and we'll get you all taken care of. All right. Thank you so much, gang, and we look forward to hosting you in class with Agritourism Manager Bootcamp. All right. Thanks so much.